Have you ever wondered about the key to Napoleon's military success? Many attribute it to his charisma, his ability to inspire his troops, or his innovative tactics. But there's another piece of the puzzle that often flies under the radar. Marshal Louis-Nicolas Davout. Davout, known as the Iron Marshal, was a force to be reckoned with on the battlefield. His strategies and tactics were so effective they often outshone even those of Napoleon himself. And yet, his name is not one that is regularly brought up in discussions about the Napoleonic Wars. Not everyone found Davout easy to work with. His peers often described him as difficult, perhaps because of his meticulous attention to detail, his unwavering discipline, and his uncompromising standards. But these same qualities that made him unpopular in some circles were also what made him a brilliant military strategist. Davout had a unique ability to read the battlefield, to understand the lay of the land and the movements of the enemy, and to make swift, decisive decisions based on that understanding. This ability earned him his nickname, the Iron Marshal, a title that spoke to both his strength and his unyielding resolve. His pragmatic approach to warfare was perhaps best encapsulated in his famous quote, "One must always choose the easiest path to victory." For Davout, victory was not about grand gestures or daring feats of bravery. It was about careful planning, strategic thinking, and efficient execution. So, as we delve into the victories of Napoleon, let's shine a spotlight on the man who often stood in the shadows. The man whose discipline, strategic acumen, and attention to detail played such a crucial role in those victories. The man who was, in many ways, the unseen hero of Napoleon's success. One name that often goes unnoticed but played a crucial role in Napoleon's victories is Marshal Davout. Remember him, for his contribution to history is far greater than many realize. Known as the Iron Marshal, Davout was a brilliant military strategist. This moniker wasn't just handed to him, it was earned through countless battles and strategic masterstrokes that left even the great Napoleon Bonaparte in awe. Louis-Nicolas Davout, a man of humble beginnings, rose through the ranks to become one of Napoleon's most trusted and effective marshals. His reputation, however, was a double-edged sword. On one hand, he was known for his military genius, his ability to read the battlefield like a book, and his unwavering discipline. On the other, he was notoriously difficult, often clashing with his peers and superiors over strategic decisions. But it was this very stubbornness, this refusal to back down, that often led to victory on the battlefield. He was a strategist par excellence, often outthinking and outmaneuvering his opponents to secure victory for Napoleon's forces. This wasn't just a matter of superior tactics or clever maneuvers. It was a reflection of Davout's unique ability to understand the intricacies of warfare and to make the right call at the right time, even under immense pressure. One such example is the Battle of Auerstedt in October 1806, where Davout, outnumbered more than 2-1, managed to defeat the Prussian army. His meticulous planning, combined with his ability to adapt to the changing dynamics of the battlefield, allowed him to turn a perilous situation into a decisive victory. Davout's strategic brilliance didn't just lie in his ability to plan and execute. He was also known for his attention to detail and his insistence on discipline and order within his ranks. He believed that victory in battle wasn't just about having the superior force or the better weapons. It was about being organized, being disciplined, and being ready for any eventuality. Despite being labeled as difficult by his peers, Davout's meticulous planning and strategic acumen were unmatched. His contributions to Napoleon's victories may have been overlooked by many, but those who know understand that the Iron Marshal was a force to be reckoned with, a master of the battlefield whose strategies continue to be studied and admired to this day. Davout's ability to read the battlefield and make decisive decisions earned him the nickname the Iron Marshal. This title wasn't granted lightly. It was the embodiment of his strategic acumen, his ability to grasp the complexities of warfare and turn them into decisive victories. Consider the battlefield as a vast chessboard. Each piece, each move, each strategy has a role to play. Davout was a master at this game. He understood the strengths and weaknesses of his forces and those of his adversaries. He could anticipate his enemy's moves and counter them with strategies that were often unexpected yet remarkably effective. While others looked at the battlefield and saw chaos, Davout saw patterns and opportunities. He could read the terrain, the weather, the morale of the troops, and use these factors to his advantage. His decisions were not just about deploying troops and ordering attacks. They were about understanding the dynamics of the battlefield and making the most of them. His knack for making decisive decisions was another critical aspect of his strategic acumen. In the heat of battle, indecision can be fatal. But Davout didn't waver. He made choices swiftly, decisively, and with conviction. Whether it was a daring attack or a strategic retreat, he made the call and stood by it. But let's not mistake his decisiveness for impulsiveness. Every decision Davout made was backed by careful thought and meticulous planning. He was not one to rush into battle without a solid strategy in place. This blend of decisiveness and careful planning made him a formidable opponent on the battlefield. And yet, despite his prowess, Davout was a pragmatist at heart. He understood that warfare was not about glory or bravado. It was about achieving objectives with the least amount of risk and casualty. His famous quote, "One must always choose the easiest path to victory," highlights this pragmatic approach to warfare. This mantra guided him throughout his military career, steering him towards strategies that were simple, effective, and most importantly, victorious. It was Davout's unwavering discipline and attention to detail that made him stand out among Napoleon's marshals. As the Iron Marshal, Davout was a paragon of discipline. His unwavering commitment to order, precision, and detail was legendary. Every plan was meticulously crafted, every order sharply defined. It was this relentless pursuit of perfection that set him apart, even in an army known for its rigorous standards. Davout's discipline wasn't confined to the battlefield alone. He demanded the same level of precision and order from his soldiers in their day-to-day lives. He understood that discipline isn't a switch that can be flipped on and off at will. It's a way of life, a habit that's inculcated through rigorous training and relentless practice. He was stern, but fair. He rewarded merit, but didn't hesitate to punish indiscipline. His soldiers respected him, not just because he was a brilliant tactician, but because he led by example. He was the first on the battlefield, and the last to leave. He expected nothing from his soldiers that he wouldn't do himself. And then there was his attention to detail. Davout was a master of logistics, understanding that victory on the battlefield often hinged on the mundane, the availability of supplies, the condition of the roads, the morale of the soldiers. He would pore over maps, scrutinize reports, and interrogate prisoners, leaving no stone unturned in his quest for information. He understood that in war, the devil is in the detail. This discipline and attention to detail were instrumental in his many victories. They allowed him to anticipate his enemies' moves, to exploit their weaknesses, and to turn the tide of battle in his favor. They were the keys to his success, the pillars upon which his reputation as the Iron Marshal was built. So the next time you study Napoleon's victories, remember the unsung hero behind the scenes, Marshal Davout. He was a man of discipline, a master of detail, a marshal who stood tall among giants. His story is a testament to the power of discipline and the importance of attention to detail, not just in war but in all aspects of life. As we delve into the annals of history, it is important to remember the unseen heroes like Marshal Davout. The pages of history are filled with the names of the great conquerors and kings, the famous generals and their glorious victories. Yet, often, it is the unseen heroes, the masterminds working in the shadows, who are the true architects of these triumphs. Marshal Louis-Nicolas Davout, the Iron Marshal, was one such figure. Behind every victory of Napoleon, there was the meticulous planning, the strategic acumen, and the unwavering discipline of Marshal Davout. His genius lay not just in his ability to read the battlefield, but also in his decisive decision-making, his pragmatic approach to warfare, and his unyielding attention to detail. Davout was the man who chose the easiest path to victory, not out of convenience, but out of a keen understanding of the art of war. He was the man who stood firm, even when his peers labeled him as difficult. His iron will, his relentless pursuit of perfection, and his refusal to bow down to adversity set him apart from the rest. Yet his name often goes unnoticed, overshadowed by the towering figure of Napoleon. But without Davout, would Napoleon's victories have been as decisive, as spectacular? It is a question worth pondering. As we study the pages of history, as we marvel at the strategic brilliance of Napoleon's victories, let us not forget the unseen hero behind these triumphs, Marshal Davout. Let us remember his contribution, his genius, his indomitable spirit. For it is these unsung heroes who truly shape the course of history. In the grand tapestry of history, every thread counts. And the thread of Marshal Davout's life and achievements is one that adds depth and richness to the overall picture. It is a thread that deserves to be noticed, to be remembered, to be celebrated. Thanks for watching the video, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more historical insights.